Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now, a show where we get you all the stocks buzzing based on news flow and on technicals. And talking about technicals, now we have Kunal Rambhia joining us on the show. A very good afternoon to you, Kunal. And the first stock that you're going to talk about is Eicher Motors. Where is this one headed on the charts? No doubt, fundamentally, everyone's talking about the competition that this particular counter is going to face, or this particular company is going to face. But on the charts, do you see any competition for this one?
Hi, very good afternoon to everyone. In fact, last Monday itself, the counter made the extreme bottom, and on that day show itself, we had discussed about the counter. We had placed a stop loss of around 31.50, and I had initiated a buy with the target of 33.50, and what we can see right now is 33.65 on the charts. And now on the intraday charts, there is a flag formation, and there is a new breakout for the chart on for the day. So initiating a buy again for the new trade. In fact, if someone is holding, one can trail the stop loss to 33.40. And now we raise the target of this counter to 34.80 to 35.50. It's a positional trade, and one can definitely take the chance on this counter.
Okay, keep an eye out on those levels for Eicher Motors. A positional trade coming in there from Kunal. Let's move on to talk about Ttk Prestige. Now, we have seen those heavy rainfalls in the northeast region as well around the northern region, especially of India. And due to those heavy rainfalls and floods, operations in the manufacturing facility in Uttarakhand have been disrupted. Now, the company expects losses for production days, about almost 4 production days of losses that they could see, and the losses is to any of the assets that are being estimated are mainly those that are covered under insurance. But yes, there is a slight bit of a loss, but the company has sufficient capacities and other units also which are working, and the impact is not going to be quite material. So that's why we're keeping an eye on Ttk Prestige, a possibility of maybe some bit of a loss that we could see coming in there.
All right, that is Ttk Prestige for you. Let's talk about Surya Roshni, and that particular counter is in focus because the management gave an interview to PTI, and Surya Roshni is actually targeting double-digit growth in their lighting and consumer business, and this is consumer durable business in this fiscal year. So what Surya Roshni is saying, that they're aiming a double-digit growth in FY24 in lighting and consumer durable business, and the company is also looking to add new products to the category as well as expanding their distribution network. This is what an official from Surya Roshni actually told told PTI as well. Remember, the company is known for their lighting products, has introduced several new products into the kitchen appliances category as well. Also, the management is saying that they're growing well. Last financial year, they had a growth of about 16% in the lighting and consumer durable business, and they will expect to grow at a similar pace in this year as well. So on back of that, you have Surya Roshni that is in focus. The stock did see a good start for the trading session. It was trading upwards of approximately 1 or 2% or so. Now it's given up some of the gains.
Okay, let's move on and talk about the next stock, that is Nalco, Kunal. And on the charts, what should one be expecting from Nalco? Last 6 months, 9% return is what we've seen, but there's a sharp spike that I'm seeing just in today's trading session as well. What are the charts now indicating here?
Absolutely correct. In fact, this is a counter which we have been discussing and sharing with all our viewers since now couple of months. And the only observation was that the counter had made an extreme bottom of around 875, and since then it's making a higher top, higher bottom formation with positive bias. And what we saw during the yesterday's session is it gave a final breakout of 85, and today it made a high of 94. It's a perfect bottoming out counter. One can initiate a buy at 93 also, even accumulate on decline. The positional stop on this chart now will be 87, and one can expect the target of 105 to 110 in the time to come. It's going to be positional trade, so don't be in hurry, and it's advisable to buy even on dip for the better risk reward ratio.
That is Nalco for you, but let's move on. Let's talk about Bandhan Bank, Mamakshi, and this one I believe is an earnings candidate. How are the earnings? What are brokerages saying? The stock is down 3%.
Well, yes, Cheryl, that stock is definitely down 3%, and that is on the back of a weak set of numbers that the company has reported. We did see the NPS for this counter jump quite significantly. The net NPA has risen from 1.17% to 2.18%, while GNPA has also seen a rise of almost 190 basis points, coming in at 6.76%. So definitely NPAs have seen a jump. That is a bit of a negative that is playing in for this counter. Other than that, when we look at the net interest income as well as the NIMs have largely been flat at around 7.3% on a sequential basis, While when we look at the net interest income, that has come in line with expectations, but when we compare it on a year-on-year basis, it is down nearly 2%. Now, definitely there are some concerns as far as the loan growth is concerned, as well as the NPS. The operating profit was also a miss on the back of lower other income. The PAT was also has come in lower than expected. In fact, brokerages have maintained their buy ratings, with CLSA and Nomura maintaining their buy call, but they've gone ahead and cut their target price for this counter. And overall, brokerages are highlighting that it was definitely a tough quarter as far as Bandhan Bank is concerned. So given that news flow, Bandhan Bank is under pressure today, down nearly 3%.
Okay, let's move on and pull up the charts for IRCTC. Kunal, on the charts, what is IRCTC indicating? Because last 6 months, last 1 year, nothing exciting in terms of returns that's come in for IRCTC. What should now be seen for IRCTC? Some more consolidation or finally a run-up?
So absolutely, it's a very short-term trade, and what you are suggesting is absolutely true. It's been a sideways consolidation counter, but what we have seen on the chart is that it made an extreme bottom of around 615, and that is the bottom of the consolidation of last 2 months at least. And we are witnessing a now counter going up to those 626 and giving a down channel breakout. So one can initiate a buy on this. It's a very short-term trade. One can initiate a buy at 626. Keeping the stop loss of around 618, one can expect the target of 645 to 650. One should enjoy this trade, this channel formation, or we call it a sideways consolidation trade, and should not expect a massive rally from present levels for sure.
All right, moving on, Ashesha, Just Dial. Why is this one in the spotlight? Earnings is what it is actually, but how are the earnings? Why such a reaction in the stock?
The earnings were in fact strong, and because of which the stock also rallied in early morning trade. Now, of course, it has cooled off. As we speak, it is down over 1.5%. Revenues for the quarter gone by stood at 250 crores, which is an uptick of a solid 6.5% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Margins, meanwhile, have also expanded by about 50 basis points. They've come in at 14.9% versus 14.4% margins that the company reported in the fourth quarter of FY23. Profit after tax has largely remained steady. As far as other operational data is concerned, total traffic of unique visitors on their website saw an uptick of about 7.5% on a sequential basis, while active listings also saw an uptick of about 4% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. So yes, numbers have been good, but despite that, the stock is falling in trade today, 1.7% lower in trade for Just Dial.
Okay, that is Just Dial for you all, but Sterling and Wilson Solar, that's the one Kunal picked up. This one is buzzing in trade today. There were con call highlights that came in also on Friday. There was a con call post that as well. And the last 6 months also, nothing short in terms of a up move that we're seeing, 23%. But today specifically, it's a very strong up move as well. Anything specific that the charts are indicating, Kunal, what should we be expecting going forward? Because today, just after the numbers and con call, 12% up move.
Again, this counter has been in sideways consolidation since June 2022. If we see the extreme bottom, it's been around 275, and the top has been around 330. Today also, if you can see in the trade, today's high is around 330 itself. So one needs to be cautious on this counter near to 330. One can always buy near to 275, sell near to 330. But by any chance, if this counter gives a breakout of 330, one can definitely buy on the breakout of 330, keeping the stop loss of 320. And expecting the target then of around 365 to 370. So as of now, it's on the watch list. Be ready. If it closes about 330, one should definitely accumulate this counter.
Okay, let's move on. Keep an eye out on those levels for Sterling and Wilson. But Veranda Solutions is the one that is in focus. Now, Veranda Learning Solutions, that's in focus. Why? Because one of its subsidiary units, Veranda Race, that together with Sridhar CCE, is to foray into newer markets. They're joining hands with Sridhar's college competitive exams, and that's a very prominent institute when you see in terms of competitiveness and competitive entrance exams that are there in Andhra Pradesh as well as Telangana. So new geography also that the company is getting to enter into with this tie-up that they have and the foray that they have with Sridhar CCE, and this will take Veranda Learnings to a leadership position in the country in terms of the competitive exam test preparation space as well, and that is the main reason we're seeing an up move coming in the stock today.
Alright, that's Veranda Learning, seeing gains of about 3.5%. Let's talk about Inox Wind, and this particular counter is in focus in today's trading session because they informed the exchanges that their 3 megawatt wind turbine with a booster capacity has received a type certificate from Germany-based TUV SUD, and this suggests that the turbine now has met with requirements for serial production and commissioning. This is what the company said in the stock exchange filing. What the company also said that the company's wind turbine has booster capacity of up to 3.3 megawatt, and with the type certification in place, the company said that they will commercially launch their 3 megawatt state-of-the-art WTG. Which will be the backbone of their future growth. So on back of that, your Inox Wind is in focus. Sharp spike at open, as you can see on your screen. But from there on, the stock has given up some of its gains, and it is actually trading lower by about 1.3%.
Okay, let's move on and talk about Rti Industries on the charts then. And Kunal, what is your expectation here, and what is the target that you're keeping for Rti Industries on the charts now?
See, this counter is already massively down from those extreme levels of 1000 to 464, and this retracement has been almost 78.6, which is offering the perfect risk-reward ratio for positional traders. What we can see in today's session is it actually gap up open, and right now it's trading near to the high of the day. So one can definitely initiate a buy at the present level. The first stop loss on this counter will be 450. Keep accumulating even if the counter comes down. I think this seems to be the final bottom for the counter, and the target can be placed as high as 500 for now. We'll keep revisiting this counter regularly now.
Alright, let's just mark quickly the flash on the bottom of the screen. Remember, Route Mobile, like we spoke about it, stock of the day. Definitely the stock is now actually spiked much more. 7.9% down. Remember that there is a Proximus and Route Mobile transaction. There's a conference call that is being held, and we are getting some key highlights. One is the transaction values Route Mobile at 11 times EV operating FCF post synergies. They're saying deal value will be accretive and efficient capital investment in a fast-growing CPaaS market. They're also saying Route Mobile promoters will be invested in the company. This is what they've said. Also, group CPaaS activities will be led by Rajdeep Gupta, who's the current CEO of Route Mobile. So
this is a Proximus con call that
yes,
is there,
exactly.
and not the Route Mobile one.
Yes.
So they are holding a con call where they have all these discussions going on.
And they are trying to just allay all the concerns or all the questions that arise.
That is there, because you know, one worry always comes in is when promoters selling stakes. Sometimes you do think that, you know, are they not confident about the company? But that's not the issue, because they are investing back.
Yeah, they're investing, and also they are saying that's what they're saying, that Route Mobile promoters will be invested in the company. So
and
that is definitely a big highlight coming in.
This as well, right? He's going to be leading the CPaaS as well.
Yes, the CPaaS activities will be led by the current CEO of Route Mobile. So on back of that, keep Route Mobile in focus in today's trading session.
Absolutely, keeping an eye out on continues. Though the fall is actually seen in the stock as well, and it's down 8% from up 8% at one point of time. But let's keep an eye out on that one. Let's move on and talk about another stock that is in focus, and that is Hdfc Bank. Vamakshi, earnings, how are they looking like for this bank?
An inline set of numbers is what Hdfc Bank has reported. When we look at the net interest income, came in at 23,599 odd crores, and this, when we compare it to the ET Now poll, is more or less in line with the estimates that we had. Other than that, when we look at the net profit number, that has come in much higher than what we were anticipating. We were working around with a number of around 11,000 crores, and PAT has actually come in at 11,952 odd crores. Now, the asset quality is also in line with expectations. Gross NPAs stood at 1.17%, while net NPAs were seen at 0.3%. Now, when we look at the CASA, that has grown by almost 11% on a year-on-year basis. Advances are also seeing a strong growth of 16% on a year-on-year basis, while deposits have also grown by almost 19% on a year-on-year basis. So all in all, it does look like an inline set of numbers as far as Hdfc Bank is concerned. Yes, the stock is seeing a good spike after the numbers came in. The stock is holding with gains of around 1.5% as we speak.
Alright, that is the Hdfc Bank. That is the reason why you saw that perk up in the Nifty Bank as well post its earnings. But Kunal, let's talk about Wipro. And Wipro also is seeing a very good run in today's trading session. Where do you see Wipro headed from here on? I believe that most of the tech companies were exhausted by Chandan in the earlier
remaining ones are now.
I think Kunal is going to talk about. So Wipro, where do you see this one headed?
So my observation is actually on the weekly chart, that's on the positional chart. Now, if you see the overall performance of Wipro somewhere in the month of October 2022, it was trading near to the 750 marks. And from there, it came down to extreme low levels of 350, 400. It was in broader consolidation since September 2022. And now this consolidation breakout is what we are witnessing in last 2 days. So definitely it's a complete turnaround counter from the present zone. One can start accumulating this counter from the present level of 415, 17 and even down to the extent of 403. The entire view will get negated if the counter goes below 390. That's definitely far away from the present level, but considering the target in mind, this seems to be the perfect one. I think this counter can now show us the levels of 475 to 500 in the time to come. So yes, it's an accumulation counter looking at the higher time frame charts.
Okay, accumulation counter looking at the higher time frame charts. That's the word coming in on Wipro from Kunal. But let's move on and talk about Federal Bank then, Ashesha. Why have you picked out this one for us today and what is the news flow here?
Well, yes, Citi has come out with a note where they've opened a 90-day positive catalyst watch on Federal Bank, because of which the stock is soaring nearly 2% as we speak. They expect net interest margins to bottom out sooner than expected. Quicker TD repricing, scaling up of high-yielding products and proposed equity infusion is what they believe could support the stock from here on. They expect it to outpace the system-wide credit growth of expectations of about 4 to 7%. They say proposed equity infusion during the quarter should provide growth capital that Federal Bank needs from here on. They say valuations at less than 1 times FY25 book for about 1.2 to 1.3 return on assets and 16 to 18% asset growth is extremely inexpensive, and hence for now they're maintaining their buy stance on the stock with a target price of 160 rupees per share. The stock currently trades at 130 rupees, and on account of this note that has come in from Citi, the stock is gaining in trade.
All right, that is Federal Bank for you. That is in focus as well in today's trading session, and that was indeed the last stock that we are talking about on this edition of Market Fatafat. So thank you so much, Kunal, Chandan, as well as Ashesha for joining us on the show, as well as Vamakshi. Thank you so much for joining us on the show and taking our viewers through all the stock buzzing in trade. But here's an exclusive conversation for all of you all. Zomato has been on a tear lately with the stock surging past the 80 rupee per share mark. But what's in store for its biggest competitor, that is Swiggy? ET now Sonali Krishna caught up with the CEO of Swiggy's food marketplace business, who talks about their path to profitability, intensifying competition, especially with the entry of ONDC and also the IPO plans.
You know, your food delivery business is finally in the black. Was this planned, envisaged, or has this taken you by surprise? Was the number of years you gave, the Swiggy food business to actually go black, and the actual time it's taken 9 years, I would think? Yeah. On track?
I think on track, because 9 years, if you think about food delivery companies globally, we are actually one of the youngest companies,
sure, right?
We are also one of the top 10 food delivery companies globally. This came out in some reports, so it's come at the right time. I think it is planned. I think it was a path that we are already walking on for a long period of time. But look, I think it's always a balance of figuring out what's the right time to hit that milestone and what it will take. So glad we are here, but this is still feels like just starting out.
Rohit, tell me, as a customer today of Swiggy, what is the big differentiation between Swiggy and Zomato?
Look, I can speak for why you should.
So there are two services. Both are offering me the same restaurant tie-ups, right? Broadly the same type of pricing, right? There are many customers who do both and see kahan pe zyada coupon mil raha hai, or where am I getting a better deal, and go there. So
and it's our job to be relevant to you.
Yeah.
Right? We don't take anything there for granted.
Yeah.
We don't take our consumers for granted even for a single second.
No, my point is, these are two exactly same services. How do you, as somebody who's a leader, look at differentiating the two to a customer?
I can only speak for what we stand for, right?
Okay.
Without getting into what somebody else stands for.
Okay.
And I think, you're asking, let me give you at least what I've heard from consumers on why they like us.
Sure,
right?
sure.
Some people really like the fact that the way the interface is. They really love the interface.
Okay.
Right? They find it easy to just navigate and select. I think that's an important choice for many people. Right?
Okay.
There are some people who really like the fact that we are delivering faster. Right? There are some people who really like the fact that the offers or the value.
Okay, that was an exclusive chat that Sonali was having with Swiggy's management. But Swiggy and Zomato both have their own loyalty programs. One is Swiggy One and one is Zomato Gold. Now, how are they actually standing in this duopoly when you put these loyalty programs together? How are they compared head to head? Let's go across and let's decode how these loyalty programs actually stand.
When we talk about food delivery, it is likely that only two names are popping in your mind. It's Swiggy as well as Zomato. Now, both these create a duopoly in the food delivery segment, and both of these also have their own membership platforms, with Zomato having Zomato Gold and Swiggy having Swiggy One. So let me take you through a comparison of both these platforms across a variety of parameters, and let's start with the cost. Now, remember that both these membership subscriptions will keep changing their prices and membership prices based on sales, based on offers, and based on a lot of other things. But as of now, for Swiggy One charges you 599 rupees per month, but they also have released a special offer where they're dropping their prices to as low as 19 rupees for a monthly membership. On the other hand, you've got Zomato Gold that charges 199 rupees for a 3 months membership. Let's move on to the benefits, the delivery benefits that both these platforms give you. And for Swiggy One, you've got free delivery for orders above 149 rupees in a 10-kilometer radius. But for Zomato Gold, it gives you free delivery for orders above 199 rupees, which is 50 rupees more than Swiggy for a 10-kilometer radius. Moving on, let's talk about discounts then. And Swiggy One will give you up to 30% extra discounts over and above other offers, and there is no maximum limit for Swiggy One. On the other hand, Zomato Gold will also give you up to 30% extra discounts over and above other offers. Let's shift focus to peak hour privileges then. What happens when you call for food on a busy weekend night, or when it's raining, or when there's a lot of traffic? So during these times, Swiggy One will not charge you any surge fees during peak hours or holidays. On the other hand, Zomato Gold will charge you a surge fee. But Zomato Gold will also provide you on-time guarantee of delivery, and if they do not meet this timeline, they will also reimburse you with a coupon that's worth 100% of your order value. So that's an interesting thing coming in from Zomato. Moving on then, let's look at the dining out privileges that both these platforms offer. Swiggy One will give its members 2 flat 150 rupees coupon per month for availing their dine out scheme. On the other hand, Zomato Gold has up to 40% tie-ups at partner restaurants. Let's shift focus to the grocery segment then. And for Swiggy One will give you free delivery on Instamart orders above rupees 199. On the other hand, Zomato Gold has no offers for its Blinkit customers. In fact, you need to buy a separate subscription of the Smart Bachat Club that will cost you 149 rupees for 3 months. Lastly, let's also look at the courier segment then. And Swiggy One has a segment called Genie, and it will also give you 10% off on all these Genie deliveries for a pickup and drop service. On the other hand, Zomato, however, has no courier delivery segment. So this is how both these platforms rank across a variety of parameters.
All right, and with that, we are totally out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat. Goodbye from Winnie, myself, and the team that put the show together. But stay tuned. Closing trades coming up next.
Rakesh Junwala wants to go easy on trading. He does not want to trade as aggressively as he did, let's say, a couple of years ago.
I